definitely introduce ourselves, and I'll start off. I'm Evelyn Tinsley. I'm the Abundant Life Doula, and I'm a birth doula in Greensboro, North Carolina. And so I welcome all moms and all expecting moms, and especially those that are busy and really want some support during their pregnancy. And even today, we're talking about preconception. So, so we're not afraid and want to support women and families even at that point. So today, I'm so happy to have Dr. Alexandra Vushnovic, and she is prepared to talk to us about just some preconception ideas that we have. And so we had gotten on to the topic of menstruation. So, but tell us about yourself,
Yes.
Dr. Alex.
Miss Evelyn, thank you so much for this opportunity. Hi, guys. I'm Dr. Alexandra Vujnovic. I am owner and founder of Power Within Chiropractic here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And my practice really focuses on two branches of services. One is how do we nurture a healthy brain development, and how gaps in early development could lead to learning, behavioral, and socialization challenges. And then another branch is how do we, as couples, really approach pregnancy like we would a wedding, right? We put in a lot of thought into what kind of dress we want to have for our wedding, what kind of environment and atmosphere we want to have, right? Who are going to be our attendees? Here's something that I'd like to propose to you guys. We would like you to think about the pregnancy, because this is the biggest marathon you and your partner are ever going to run. And to consider, would you run a 5 or a 10K mile without proper preparation? Probably not, right? So that's what and when we talk about this type of preparation, we're talking about something we call salutogenic model of health, okay? Salutogenesis truly means birth of health, right? It's things you do in life, like, hydration, like sleeping, like reflection, like eating healthy and real food, right? Like getting chiropractic care, like getting essential nutrients that the body needs, irregardless whether we have symptoms or not, right?
Okay.
So all of that takes place prior to preconception, generally about maybe 6 to a year in advance before we decide to play this dance of wanting to procreate or wanting to create a beautiful gift that belongs to you and your partner, right?
So
that
so
is what, yes.
let's that you said a whole lot. So and I'm learning. I wanted to get the you mentioned sologenics. Am I saying that correctly?
Salutogenesis.
So salutogenesis.
You are.
Okay. All right. So that is the birth
of Genesis. Yes.
Salutogenesis. That is the birth
of health.
Of health.
Correct.
Excellent. So we want to birth, and the word health, we've been throwing that around a whole lot. And it's kind of dawned on me that we all have a different idea of what health is and what healthy is. And maybe it is different depending on, I don't know, your age, or I don't, I just find what I thought was healthy for me, much younger, is not the same that I need today. So yeah, the birth of health. And so we might have to continue to give birth to health, over and over again. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But definitely when you're focused on giving birth. Yeah. then that would be a different type of focus.
World Health Organization. And so they define health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So everything is truly a choice. Now, how hard that choice is, that's a different matter, but everything we do in life is a choice. And as long as we understand that, then I think we have the ability to empower each other and inspire each other to truly go after what we desire in life.
So we're going to make good choices. We're going to encourage each other to make good choices for our health.
Yeah. So sometimes, you have to make the bad one, right? On the weekend, I would like to have a dessert.
Yes.
So yeah, sometimes
Right.
I go there myself, right?
Right.
But it's okay because
Right.
we have 7 days in a week. If we practice healthy habits, 6 days a week, and then one day we go in and maybe, have a little more dessert or maybe another glass of wine, it's okay. If the body can accept that. But now if we had the reverse, which is where a lot of people live, we have abundance of the bad stuff going in all the time, and maybe one day of the week, maybe good things that really nurture the body, then we have this imbalance, and the body shows us that imbalance. We see a lot of things happening within our society that are really not showing us that we're abusing this beautiful machine that we have. And when we are a machine, we are an instrument that requires tuning. We are an instrument that has consumable parts that have to be tuned and oiled and so on and so forth, right?
Right.
And that's what these 7 habits or 7 pillars of health come into place. We have to nurture those, and we have to pay attention to how they impact our feelings first and foremost, because our feelings, our mind, impact our overall health.
Yeah. So it's interesting you mentioned family, which and I'm, I think family for the most part is a blessing, but you don't get to choose your family, so there are a lot of things that in life that we don't have a choice about, and so, those things that we don't have a choice about, there's probably some health, just like you mentioned, surrounding that. But then those things that we do have some power over and can make some choices about, we want to know, most people will want to know what's the right choices to make in those instances. And especially kind of, then focusing specifically on preconception, in terms of health in that at that period of time, in that point in your life. And you mentioned that menstruation is kind of key, a key part of that. Can you tell us more about
Absolutely. So we call that the 5th sign of health. Menstruation is the 5th sign of health for a female. Okay. So ovulation is not just there to help us conceive. Ovulation has many, many, many benefits for our female health. So to willingly shut that process off, it's a bit of a concern, because apparently most of us then do not understand what the purpose of ovulation is. It is not just to get pregnant. Yes, it is one of the goals of ovulation, but there are so many other things that it controls. So when we use birth control pills, for example, we are shutting off the ovulation process automatically. So that in itself is potentially causing issues down the line, and contributing to perhaps the increased numbers that 1 out of 6 couples currently have issues with fertility. Now, again, conventional medicine and approaches always kind of puts the burden on the female, but in a salutogenic model of health, we share this responsibility between a male and a female. Like I said earlier, right? 50% of the genes come from the male sperm and 50% will come from the egg, the female counterpart of that, right? So when we talk about creating something, then both have to be involved.
And I think that's really
Menstrual
excellent.
cycle.
And I think that's really different. I think that's very different approach than a lot of folks would normally kind of take. So that's a different way of thinking, and it's worth pausing just to say that, you know, if you're a couple, that you carry that responsibility together. You don't just we don't make the assumption that that responsibility falls on one person or the other, but that you both kind of are part on and together on that. So that's
Absolutely.
important. Now, but you did mention ovulation, and you did talk about a little bit about you know, the medications, that stop ovulation. But I have also heard, and other women may be able to attest to this as well, that there are different reasons why women end up on the pill or some type of contraceptive like that, because they miss school, they miss work, they have terrible pain, terrible heavy, cramps, and heavy periods in general. And
Right.
it makes it hard, it makes it difficult to function. And so when you're in that
Absolutely.
space, and the next thing you do a lot of times is go to your doctor, right? To find out what to do.
Yep.
And that
Yep.
is one of the things that they will generally tell you to do.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
we've
Yes.
got that to
Yes.
overcome, you know.
Yep. So again, I'm going to get back to the things that, again, most of you may not have heard at this point. This might be your first introduction to this. Epigenetics is a branch of science that deals exclusively with how your lifestyle impacts the expression of your genes. So we're not doomed to our genetics. Yes, there's a very small part of our genetic code that determines who we are going to be, but your lifestyle determines and turns on and off all of these genes, okay? A really good resource for you guys would be like Bruce Lipton work or Joe Dispenza. Those two names come to the top of the head right now. Biology of Belief, all of that is a good resource for you guys. So we're not destined to have diabetes or heart issues just because our parents had. Now, what we see and what we observe a lot is that when that does happen, a lot of the habits that your parents had, you also maintain. So that's how those genes get to, in fact, be active, right? Because again, our lifestyle determines our quality of health. So that is why preconception in itself is very important, because we are controlling the epigenetic factors that we are passing on to our children. So if we want to work on what our next generation is like, we have to impact ourselves first in order to pass on that progeny, that gene, that health. That habit, first of all, because habits are something we create over time. That's not something that you start with right now and quit cold turkey kind of thing. Those are things that we practice every day. And yes, every once in a while, you're going to have that cheat day, right? But that's okay. We need that. And so that's not something to be criticized for or to be, you know, judgmental over ourselves for. That's just what life is about. But if we do more of what creates health and what we know will give us better outcomes when it comes to fertility, when it comes to, then we know we can anticipate to expect a different result, right? Doing
Right.
same thing over and over is a definition of insanity, right? I didn't
Right.
make that up. Einstein said
Right.
that. So,
Right.
so it wasn't me, but you know, it's true. It's true.
Right.
So if we do, and when I say doing over and over same thing, when we go from one pill to the other, that's the same thing. We
Right.
have to try something else. There are other ways to look at the body and to give the body what it needs. But you know, going back from one synthetic pill to the other, that's not the different things, different times. That's doing the same
Right.
thing at a different time.
Right. So
You
that
going,
can happen. That can happen kind of both ways. That we come into this world with great genetics, maybe, and make some poor
absolutely,
decisions that
absolutely,
affect our health. And in a sense, we can pass that along.
absolutely.
But then also, you might come in with mediocre or not so great genetics and make decisions that can actually not only, what I'm hearing you say, not only improve your own health, but the health of those that you give birth to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, the brand providers in medical field, like myself, like naturopaths, like homeopaths, we have different tools that we use in order to bring the body back to balance and to harmony in order for the body to express health. Because a lot of us understand that the body was designed to be healthy. The body's not designed for us to come out and to go into infirmity and disease. That's not what we were designed for, right?
That's
We
good
were
news.
designed. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I was just saying that's good news that our bodies are designed to be healthy. So we're at a good
Absolutely.
starting point.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, do you think whoever that is above that you believe in, would we have an advantage in designing something that would be broken within very short period of time? No. I mean, generally when we design something, we design it because it's a really proven
Lasting.
system, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, as a society, we have some very, very fast-paced lifestyles that are not very congruent with what the physiology needs. And
Gotcha.
therefore we have accelerated the wear and tear of our system, and therefore it's breaking down on us. But again, the preconception work or the just building health program, it's all about bringing back basic things that the body eat food, getting back to hydration, sleeping, proper reflections. I believe yeah. So all of those things are things we need to practice on a daily basis, one step at a time, right? Baby steps, and then you build on. Then things just miraculously start turning around. They start. But just to get back to one of your points about menstrual cycles, I am one of those girls who at the age of 11 started having my menstrual cycle. And my first menstrual cycle, as most of girls can relate, right? You were afraid just to see the actual act of it. But imagine having to spend the next 5 days of your first menstrual cycle in bed because you were in so much pain, you actually couldn't stand. My next 10 to 15 years of menstrual cycle experience was just that, guys. So I'm not saying that, we're not going to have challenges. or that we're not already there, because we are truly creating sick children nowadays. And unfortunately, that's just a reality. So I was born in 1982, and yet I still had that same trajectory of my body was telling me early on something was off, right? Now, at the time when I was age of 11, we didn't know better. So I just kind of, went to bed and took the pills to calm myself down, missed school, like she said, missed work. I remember one time I was 17 years of age and I was working, and literally there wasn't any prediction of when the menstrual cycle would come. It comes at any time, so you can really prepare, right? That's another sign that there's a lot of misbalance and irregulation within your system. And so I was working and I wasn't anticipating anything to happen, but literally I fainted the minute the rush came through. So my manager had to call my father to come and pick me up. The next 5 days I spent in bed, missed work, missed school, was miserable, in a ball like this, trying to just contain any type of emotion and the pain that I was going through. So I understand, guys, but I'm going to also tell you that the last 7 years of my life, I know the minute it's going to come. I know that it's going to last 5 days. I know that I am not going to have to miss anything or readjust. I know that I'm not going to be the person that all of my friends are going to want to avoid because I'm on my menstrual cycle, right?
Right.
So it can be done, but it also takes time, guys. So I can be that advocate for you alongside, because I went through all of that.
Okay.
And I'm also somebody who is almost going through the same things as you are, because I am 38. I've never had children, but I want to prepare myself for that. And even if it doesn't happen, guys, I'm not just doing this for my children. I'm doing this for myself, because there is still hopefully 60 to 70 years of life left. And I want to live it with abundance and full of life, vibrancy, and health.
Exactly. Well,
And
you have said,
yes.
I was just going to say, you have said a lot of really good things. And I think that this might be a good place for us to pause until the next time and continue the conversation a little bit more. But I'm intrigued. I mean, because, who doesn't want health, and so I'm intrigued for those that are, seeking to become pregnant, and even those that have been pregnant and are seeking to become pregnant again, because again, maybe we took some things for granted, in the past. You just get pregnant and you move on, and you didn't think about your health. You didn't think about those things that make you healthy. So this is a great topic, and I think it would be, hopefully we'll get a lot of feedback. So what I want everybody to do is, when you are listening to this and you have some specific questions that you would like Dr. Alex to address, just send those questions. She has a website. Tell us your website, Dr. Alex.
My website is thegreensborochiropractor.com. At the moment, that website actually doesn't talk about a lot of this. It's just a generic website that, puts me out there on the Google Maps. But if you really want to follow through with me on some of this, probably the best thing would be just to reach out and set up a complimentary consultation where we can talk about what your goals are. Where is your headspace right now? What do you feel like some of the things that you would like to work on? Like I said, we can start changing everything, but we can make baby steps on what you feel like you could control in the next 3 to 4 months that will help us make that transition into into lasting habits that will create change down the line.
Very good. And I also want to mention my website is evelyntinsley.org, evelyntinsley.org. And these recordings that we're doing, our goal is to continue to publish those on the website so that we can continue to build on those conversations and invite more people in. I'm also a blogger, so look for more information on the website as well for in our blog. And I'm just so appreciative for Dr. Alex just wanting to talk about these things and bring them out in the open and being somebody local that we can go to for some alternative treatments and health as we're learning, and birthing health in our lives. So, and she has a lot of knowledge and she doesn't mind sharing it. So those are all really great things for us. So
yes,
thanks so much.
Thank you as well, Evelyn. I really enjoyed this and I'm looking forward to continuing these conversations. And again, don't hesitate to reach out. And we look forward to seeing you on our next chat.
I'll see you next time. All right.